So hello guys, welcome to Makomondi TV again. Have you ever caught yourself talking to yourself when you are alone at home? Maybe you're cooking dinner, doing laundry, or just hanging out on the couch. It might feel a little weird or embarrassing, but it turns out that talking to yourself is actually a common and even beneficial habit. So in this video today, we'll explore why people talk to themselves while alone, what it reveals about our brains and personalities, and how we can make the most out of this quirky behavior. So stay tuned, keep it locked, and make sure you leave your comments below after you are done watching the entire episode. So first of all, let's clarify what we mean by talking to yourself. This can take many forms, from muttering under your breath to having full-on conversations with an imaginary friend. While it might sound like a sign of mental illness or loneliness, talking to yourself is actually a normal and healthy way to process your thoughts and emotions. I'm sure many of us didn't expect that. Well, in my attempt to try and understand why people actually talk to themselves and the connotations around that, I managed to talk to one of the doctors who is a psychologist. He didn't want to appear on camera, so I just quoted our conversations with him. So Dr. Smith said this, that when you talk to yourself, you are essentially engaging in a self-talk, which is a cognitive process that helps you organize and regulate your thoughts and feelings. This can take the form of affirmations, instructions, reminders, or just venting. So self-talk is a way to externalize your inner dialogue and make it more concrete and manageable. End of quote. So that's what the psychologist commented about talking to oneself. So, but why do we need to externalize our inner dialogue? What's going on in our brains when we talk to ourselves? In order to answer that, Dr. Smith continued to say that self-talk activates the language centers of our brains, which helps us process information more efficiently and remember it better. It also engages the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for planning, decision making, and self-control. She continues to say that by talking to yourself, you can boost your cognitive abilities and reduce stress and anxiety. Interesting. So in fact, self-talk is so effective that many athletes, performers, and even professionals use it as a performance enhancing tool. By repeating positive affirmations or self-instructions, they can boost their confidence, focus, and even motivation. So after I spoke to the doctor, I also wanted to just diversify so that whatever information I share with you guys can be as comprehensive as possible. So I spoke to one of the software engineers who is a friend of mine, a former workmate. So I asked him whether he talks alone and why he does so, and he confessed. So this is what he said: I find that when I talk to myself, I can solve problems more easily and stay focused on my work. It's like having a virtual assistant in my head that helps me keep track of my ideas and priorities. End of quote. So that is the software engineer telling us about his own experience on talking to himself. But what about the social and cultural stigma of talking to yourself? Aren't we supposed to be polite and quiet when we are alone or in public? That's the question. Actually, many cultures and languages have a rich tradition of talking to oneself, if you guys didn't know. From the Japanese concept of talking to the pillow to the Yoruba proverb in Nigeria that says, "He who talks to himself knows where he's going." Even in English, we have many idioms that and even expressions that involve talking to oneself, such as thinking out loud or having a conversation with yourself. Now, in my search for understanding this, I also spoke to a lady. Let's call her Sarah for the sake of this interview. Now, Sarah says that at first she thought there was something wrong with her for talking to herself. But when she realized that it's a natural and even helpful habit, she was very comforted. And she actually says that now she embraces her inner monologue and even enjoys the benefits it brings. Well, that is debatable anyways. So whether you are cooking dinner, doing laundry, or just walking down the street, don't be afraid to talk to yourself. You might discover new insights that may end up reducing stress that you might have. And I'll give you my own experiences. Previously, I've been asking myself why people talk alone by themselves, because that's not something I'm used to. Even when I'm alone or in the midst of people, I rarely talk alone. But lately, I've discovered that because I live alone in my room, I used to have a roommate, but he moved out. So as we speak, I'm just alone in the house most of the time. So from classes and work, I just come back to the house and I'm just alone. What you guys don't know is that nowadays I talk alone. And sometimes even in the bathroom, once I remember something that I might have experienced in the course of the day, sometimes I find myself talking about it very loud in the bathroom until such a time when I discover, oh, I'm alone here, so I'm just talking to myself. So in a lot of instances, so for example, something falls down, I can just comment about that thing falling down so loudly as if I was talking to someone in the room. Yeah. So now with time, I've come to discover that, of course, if you don't usually talk alone, because for sure, why should you start talking alone if you don't be talking alone? But this is just a confirmation to those people who talk alone at some instances. Don't feel like you are weird. That is a common human behavior, and circumstances might push you into talking alone sometimes, so that, like I have mentioned in the video, you can have certain reaffirmations, or just your brain trying to re-emphasize on certain activities or experiences in your life and even in your brain. So that was it, guys. I'm not an expert in this field, but I just thought this was an interesting topic that has been bothering me. So I had to go and do a bit of research about it and share with you guys. Now you know you are not mad when you talk alone. It's perfectly normal. We just need to be reasonable and tone down about it. You don't necessarily need to talk when there is nothing to be talked about. But if at the back of your mind there is something that is triggering you, please speak it out. Reduce stress. Life is short. Otherwise, see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like Marco Mondi TV. Have a nice day. Bye.